Hello and welcome back to Feed the Beast Ultimate for Minecraft version 1.4.7. I'm trying to stand far away because I didn't show you last time around, but this thing makes such a racket. I mean, just this is the torment I went through while building this place, just this constant hammering of them. But there are some changes to talk about, so let's step away from it just a little bit and then we could walk through them. So, first of all, there's a mod in this pack called Greg Tech, which changes how things work, and part of it is what made it so I had to use the compressor to make gold blocks in the past. So I'll probably put a clip in here, something maybe of me using the compressor. But I thought that was really annoying that I was sort of obliged to use technology to achieve things that I really shouldn't have to use because I wanted to do a sort of magic series and focus most on that. And so I went into the config and found out that you can disable the function. So now I have it so that this farm automatically produces gold blocks for me. So you can see that I have quite a sizable amount of them now. And I've, finished off the treasure room. So this place is fully functional and I never have to come here unless I need gold anymore. But yeah, these piles of gold I'm very pleased with, very fun. I also expanded this out using that same method of building I talked about last time, just carving into the walls and using pillars and such to create these sort of almost catacombs-like a catacombs-like structure that I can walk through, because I wanted it to be like kind of foreboding, like, ooh, the dark, mysterious pits beneath the earth, all that stuff. But yeah, so you follow this up, and it leads to the same level as everything else. So I've started to create a little bit more in my base. I haven't finished it. This will be used for something later on today. Don't worry about that. But this leads out to that face I carved out, and my other house is on the other side there. But what's most relevant for today is actually this. I worked on this behind the scenes because I didn't think it would be too complicated, but I got really invested in it. I sort of looked up pictures of fancy libraries and then tried to recreate that. So, these banisters and a giant sort of tile on the roof, trying to use only two colors, red and black, for understandable reasons, I suppose. We've got a globe here, which I was quite pleased with. Thought that was fun. A place for my portal gun when I'm not using it. A stand for that sword for the pigment. Just little things here and there. And also, just a nice, if I turn this on, just a nice little fireplace here. So I could sit and have sort of fireside chats like, FDR or whatever, and walk through things with the good common people of whatever nation I'm in. I've also mounted my conquered foes' heads on my mantelpiece. I think that makes sense. But yeah, and I can also listen to music at will. Oh, I don't need that open. So, this also leads me to what we're doing today. First of all, these tables. Let's just talk about these for a second, because these are gorgeous. These are from Thaumcraft, which is what I'm beginning today. And they're just made with slabs and planks, and they are gorgeous. I mean, just look at that. That is a spectacular block for building and just everything else. So we'll need this. We will also need another set of those. So let's get that. But first things first, we're going to make the core item of this mod, which is really just fantastic. So we take a shard, a stick, and a gold nugget, and we get the Wand of the Apprentice. It's very basic. Just looks like a stick. But have no fear. So what we can do, let's see, we'll pop it over here, let's say. So if I right click on here with the stick, this becomes a crafting table. So now I no longer need this minium stone. And this is the crafting table that you begin with for this mod. Now it has stolen my wand, but the other thing we need, so we have that there, but we need to be able to figure out what the heck we're doing with this mod. And so in order to do that, we just snag a bookshelf, toss that on the ground, and then go, ooh. It's like magic. I mean, it is magic. That's literally what it is, but it's so amazing. So, we now have what I believe is called the Thaumonomicon, which is quite the tongue twister to try and say. But this walks through everything that this mod has to offer. It's actually amazing. This is one of the most well-documented mods in-game that I've ever played with. And it's just spectacular. But you can see that there's a lot of these things that have these unknown symbols next to them, the kind of scrambled letters that are very spooky. Some of them are preordained. So we can see that the silverwood trees, which I've collected, they say, "These rare and magical trees are a wondrous sight. Their leaves shimmer with magical energy, and their pale, soft wood is valued for its purifying properties. Um, so stuff like that. I will not read through all of these on camera. I've already read through many of them. But basically, there's latent magic in the world that either grows in these trees or is just found that we can tap into as thaumaturges, or whatever the equivalent might be called. Um, but yes, the main thing, though, is that in order to actually gain power or otherwise understanding involves research, which is part of why I built a library, because I figured that was a relevant thing. So what we'll do is we take some slabs here. I'm just using redwood because it's the cheapest that I have. And if we collect them like so, we can make 2 sets of tables. So we'll place those there and then return the wood to this chest for my temporary storage of these items. And I've managed to drop one up. There we go. Okay, so the next thing you'll need is a set of scribe's tools. These are made with ink and feathers and also glass bottles, which I collected right at the start of this series, so no need to be complicated there. And then all you do is right-click, and there you go. This, another gorgeous thing. I mean, everything about this mod is so far brilliant in terms of that. But now we have this table set up, and it's pretty complicated. To research something new, you simply need to place some paper in the bottom middle slot and the objects you wish to study in one of the left slots. When you press the magnifying glass icon, you will study the aspects on those objects. So the aspects it's referring to are actually, whenever you hold shift over an item, it shows you them. So you could see, it's a bit like alchemy, it feels like, which is fantastic. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, I should say, is look at these items and then try and determine what might go into this. So I'm looking at this, and it kind of looks like a piece of cloth sort of draped over itself. So what we're going to do is grab something like string, maybe. So we'll grab some string, because I also have infinite of that, so I could be a little bit sparing with it. And also, I'll grab some wool, just because that might be a bit more precise with it. Then the other thing is that because a lot of this is magical, we're going to look for something with a lot of magical essence. And probably the easiest and most accessible one for that, for me, is blaze rods, just because of the farm I have downstairs. So we'll snag these. Now these don't have a ton of magic in them, but they have some. So we'll grab a lot of those because I'll imagine I'll need it. And then we can return back to the research table and begin investigating this. So we'll come here. Oh, hello, sir. You're a failure. That was easily dispatched. Okay, so we return to the research table, and you place paper down here, and then you can place wool, let's say here. Now, there is 2 modes here, cursory and I believe thorough. Cursory has a lower % chance of consuming the item, but also a lower % chance of showing aspects in the table. So let's see. Research, bingo, unknown theory, we're discovering something. So then I just click this like mad until something shows. So we're eating through the wool here, but now we have this. So enchanted fabric, 50% complete. And it gives you like a little clue. So you've created a simple but strong fabric from wool and spider silk. You are sure you can infuse it with magic somehow to create a wonderful crafting component. So then what we can do is say, okay, it's asking for magic, throw this in there. And bingo. Precontatio, if that's how you pronounce it. Excellent. And then the last one it's asking for is Fabrico. Now, knowing what items go into this is kind of a pain, because if you hold shift in NEI, it doesn't actually show you. So it's kind of best to just, try and figure things out if you can. Either, A, pull it up on the wiki, or just try and maths it out in your head. So Fabricos is create, construct, and work. The only thing I can think of that would have anything to do with that is like a crafting table. And I was right. Okay, so we'll make a set of these. That's a lot of wood, but fine. Because it will just eat it. And there we go. So we've made a discovery. Enchanted fabric. And it tells you how to do it. So bingo, research complete. So every time you complete a research, it then shows it in here. And so you can go like, oh, what has it done? And then it shows you. So by combining spider silk and wool and infusing with raw viz or V, you've created a silk. Blah, blah, blah. All that cool stuff. To go over that concept though, V is something, it's basically like latent magic, I believe. and you can tap into it with wands. So when this says it uses 5V, what that means is that this is 50, so I could at max craft 10 of these enchanted fabrics at one time. But there's not really any purpose with that yet because we haven't discovered anything to do. So what we're going to look at is say, okay, what about these two? Well, we have all these blaze rods, so I imagine that I can just go like this and see what comes up. So we're creating something just magic. What's it going to be? Thermometer. Okay. Well, what would that be? Well, okay, so looking at this, the only thing that kind of makes sense is this. This is the only thing that looks vaguely like a tool. Well, there is an essence for tools, which is that sort of blue thing. So what we're going to do is try and find something like that, and maybe also grab some gold, because A, I have a lot of it, and B, that looks like a likely component that might be in there. Let's go in here. First things first, gold. Hey, not gold. Interesting. Okay. Not that either. What on earth goes into the thermometer? If not gold and not instrumentum, I'm honestly not sure. Which is kind of part of this. Okay, so it's a lot of that. It's a lot of just saying like, okay, what's it gonna be? Is there anything in this? And then when there's not, then you got to get kind of clever and just say, okay, what am I gonna throw in there to try and figure it out? Because if I'm thinking what that tool looks like, it looks a lot like a compass. So maybe I'll just put some redstone and iron in here and see what comes out. So this has Mechanica and Potentia. Okay, so because that doesn't have any unique aspects, you could just look at things and say, okay, Nicolite has Potentia and Mechanica in it, so I'll snag a couple stacks of that and then return, because this is the same stuff as a compass, and the thermometer kind of looks like a compass, and so, you know, it might be loose, but bingo, I was right. So Mechanica is in it. What does this say? You believe that this mystical device will point you in the direction of nearby sources of mystical energy. So it had. It's unfortunate that it didn't show me what the last material was. So we've got Machina and Precantatio. So, oh, what am I gonna do to figure it out? All right. Well, nothing has been working here. So here is the rationale that I have now. Hang on a minute. You know what? I have a bit of books. Let's put books in there, right? Books have a lot of unique aspects in it, which is part of what they're so great. They're also pretty cheap. I mean, I have infinite cows from the soul shards and infinite sugarcane, so it's not really any risk doing it. But also, maybe the only aspect I can think of here is the cognito, which is that little book symbol, which is also present in paper. But you know, we'll shove this in here. So let's see. Yep. Okay, it was that one. Fantastic. Yeah. I wonder if each of the aspects, you kind of slowly over time learn what aspects are able to go into these items. I think it may actually have them all laid out. So let's see, aspects. Dang it. It doesn't actually show it, which is upsetting because a lot of the aspects have, like as you saw in there, the cognito one said like learning, knowledge, all that stuff. So knowing what each of the aspects does can kind of help you figure out what it is. But anyhow, we've unlocked the thermometer, which makes me just think I'm going to measure someone's temperature, but I guess it's measuring therm and not therm. The thermometer acts like a mystical compass, pointing you towards the center of the nearest magical aura. You are confident you'll be able to craft more refined devices in the future, allowing you to discover more information about aura nodes. For now, this will have to do. So I guess the nearest source of magical energy is out this way, which is interesting, but I don't think I'll be able to actually see it yet, because I've walked around this place and I haven't seen anything. So we'll just hold on to this for now until we can find a way to actually, well, learn about it. So let's put more blaze rods back in there because that was effective, and we've unlocked something already. Excellent. Magic tallow. Okay. Candles just fats. We're talking, hang on, I might just grab meat and see if I could put that in there. This might be stupid, but so, raw beef, let's test. Hey, I was right. corpus, which is flesh and stuff like that. Great. Okay. Oh. Wow, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Magic tallow. By processing and heating flesh in the crucible, you believe you can create a mystical tallow suited for making many arcane uses. Well, sick. Okay, that presents me a really great opportunity to show off the last part of this mod that's probably going to be relevant for today. Because I'm just going to get some basic research done. But the last thing you can make in this mod is something called a crucible. So in order to do that, what you do is you have to use a cauldron. So what I'm going to do, I've already hauled out a place here, but I'm going to grab this like so and put a lava bucket there and a stone slab there with this not the bucket, the cauldron there. And then I need my wand. I forgot the wand. But we go like this, and suddenly we have a crucible. Now the last step to make this thing function is you actually need to fill it with water. So we'll come out here. We'll grab a bucket of water. Now I will have to make a water source down here, ideally. But with this in here, soon, because of the heat of the lava, you'll notice that this should start to bubble. Ah, excellent. Okay, so these items all have aspects. And so whenever you look in the Thaumonomicon at an item that can be made in the Crucible, it will tell you how much V it takes to create. So you need your wand here as well. And also the type of, what you might say, aspects used to create it. So there is one thing to be wary of, which is something called flux, which is that if you toss something in here, like say the raw beef, one raw beef is enough to make a magic tallow because it has the correct number of corpus, but there's other elements in there, other aspects. And so if I were to make the magic tallow with this, it would put those aspects into the atmosphere, and that's what produces flux. So trying to be careful about how you do this is a reasonable and good thing to do. And I'm sure that won't be foreshadowing for the future where I accidentally destroy the world or something. That would be just laughable. Anyhow, I had to cut this episode short. There's a lot of Thaumcraft. It takes a lot of time, a lot of research to get through. So tune in next time to see where I take it and what I do with it. Hint, I might destroy the Wither over and over again easily. So, exciting prospects. Either way, if you like the video, make sure to drop a comment, subscribe, hit the like button, all that jazz. Yeah, I'm done here.